Banjo Land, Mike Heading here. Got another little beginner banjo lesson for you. This one I'm calling Mastering the Forward Roll. I get a lot of questions from students about, okay, I know the basic forward roll, thumb, index, middle, but when I start changing strings, I start adding Scruggs licks, my right hand gets thrown off. So it's a very common issue, and I'm going to give you a bunch of exercises that will help hopefully solve this issue. We're going to practice changing strings, we're going to practice ascending and descending scales, and then I'm going to give you a bunch of 2-measure forward roll patterns you can use for backup. So I'm going to break the whole thing down note for note. Alright, here's Mastering the Forward Roll. Alright, so let's start breaking down this forward roll exercise. So we're going to start with just the open 3rd string. We're going to do kind of a standard forward roll on the 3rd string. So we're going to start with thumb and middle. So 3rd string, 1st string. Then we're going to go up to the 5th string and do 5, 3, 1 twice. So that's our forward roll, T-I-M twice there. That's going to be our roll. Then we start it over. Your thumb comes back down. Okay, so that's going to be our roll we're going to use for this exercise. And then we're going to change the notes on the 3rd string to basically create a little ascending scale. So let's start with the opens again. We're going to use our middle finger, our 2nd finger of our left hand, put it on the 2nd fret of the 3rd string. Do that same exact roll. Make sure your index finger is playing on the 3rd string after that 1st thumb. It's really important. Make sure your thumb doesn't cheat and jump down and try and play that 3rd string, except for the very 1st note. Now we're going to go up to the 4th fret, same roll. Just up 1 fret to the 5th fret. 7th fret, same roll, so up 2 frets. Up 2 frets to the 9th fret. 11th fret, up 2 frets. And then up 1 fret to the 12th fret. So your 12th fret's your octave. So that's where you can tell that's the end of the scale, is the octave, 12th fret. So let's go back down those notes. Same rolls. 12th fret. 11th fret. 9th fret. 7th fret. 5th fret. Okay, so a couple things you want to be careful there is the banjo strings can bend pretty easily, so you want to be careful that when you're moving that 3rd string note around, you're not bending that string up. Here, if I even bend it just slightly, it just puts it a little bit out of tune, you know, especially on that 2nd fret of the 3rd string. A good one to practice and not, you know, be careful you're not bending that note up. It's also a good time to check your banjo intonation. You know, hopefully all those notes sound in tune. If you're open and the notes up on the fretted string start getting a little out of tune, you might need to check the placement of your bridge. Okay? So let's do that one more time. Let's go back up the scale a little faster. So do that as many times as you need to. You know, once you get it down too, you can also jump around between the different notes. So you don't have to go straight up and down the scale. You could go. Just practice moving around. So I'm staying on each note on the 3rd string for a full measure. So I'm playing that same 3rd string, the whole measure. I'm not changing the pitch in the middle of a measure. Okay, so for our next example, let's look at changing the pitch in the middle of the measure. So let's look at measure 9. So this time we're going to do that same exact roll, except this time we're going to change early. So we're going to go, let's play it slowly. So I did thumb middle, then I'm going to go up to the 5th string and do 5, 3, 1. So that's open, and then I'm going to do another 5, 3, 1 roll, except this time I'm going to put my left hand down. So I'm changing on beat 4 this time, so it sounds like this really slowly. So I'm going to that next pitch instead of at the beginning of measure 10 like we did in the first example. I'm going prematurely now. I'm using the forward roll to mess with that timing, so here we go. Now let's do the same thing. So you gotta be a little more careful with the timing there. It's easy to get switched around on the wrong side of the beat. So what we're practicing there is being able to freely change those left hand notes without our right hand getting thrown off. Let's do that one more time. A little faster. Now for our next example, let's change right away after the first note. We'll just, instead of doing 3 opens, we'll just do 1. So here's measure 17. That time I went up to the 14th fret just so you could hear that next note up. Okay, so that gives you a bunch of stuff to practice. Practice going down and up. You know, you could do it backwards as well. The other thing you can do is combine the two. So do some of them where you do all opens, like I'll do measure 1. Now for the next one I'll do measure 10, so I'll kind of start playing with those notes now. Now I'll stay straight. I'm just practicing changing at different intervals, and the goal there is to keep your right hand always the same. So now I can change on the beats, or I can change in the middle of a measure. You know, I have the freedom to move those notes around as much as I want without my right hand getting thrown off. And that's what I'm trying to practice anyways.